Good evening, rockers. Welcome to a late night edition of On the Rocks Total Entertainment. I'm Carol Nevin, and tonight we have a special interview with a gentleman from a band in Sydney, Australia, Fuel to Fire. Ben Albert has been on the scene for many, many years, and I connected with him during pandemic when I was on Keep Rock Alive. And we've kept in touch with each other over the past couple years. And I am going to be venturing out to Sydney, Australia next month for the Kings of Thrash tour. And we were going to get together and talk rock and roll and talk about the Sydney experience in rock. And what we're going to do tonight is we're going to talk about his band currently and what's going on in that neck of the woods, I should say. It's like 3 o'clock in the afternoon there, and it's 11 p.m. or actually 10 o'clock right here in Las Vegas. So we're just waiting for him to come on. We're going to have a little chat here. And we still plan on hooking up there in Vegas, and I'll do an live interview with him in Sydney next month. But for tonight, we're going to talk rock and roll, and Ben has a lot to say about his band. And now it's 2023, so things are opening up in other parts of the world finally. And we're going to see what his plans are for 23. It's here, so let's get him in and let's get the party started. Are you there, Ben? All right, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
All right, awesome. Welcome, finally, to On the Rocks Total Entertainment.
Thank you.
Live from Las Vegas.
Thank you.
So we've got a lot to talk about. I was kind of bringing everybody kind of up to speed that I've known you for a couple years now.
Yeah.
We connected during a pandemic when I was on Keep Rock Alive.
Yeah.
And, now we're in 2023. Your band is ready to go. So let's get an update. When did you actually start Fuel to Fire, Ben?
Well, you know what? I started Fuel to Fire back in 2017. And there was a band, really quickly, there was a band that I was in that I auditioned for, and they had a name that I didn't like. And I said, I've got a better name. And I called it Fuel to Fire. And that band didn't work out. So in 2019, I gave it up for a little while. 2019, I put in an ad, found the guys, and restarted the band. And I was the owner of the band. I was the leader of the band. You know, back then it wasn't, because even though it was my name, it wasn't, I wasn't the owner of the band. But now I'm the owner of the band and the manager and the songwriter. So yeah, 2019, started it again.
Yeah, and then of course everything shut down.
Yeah.
And then we're coming back now. Did you have a lot of time to write, Ben, during that time?
Yeah. Yeah, we actually wrote and recorded our debut EP, Balls to the Wall.
Which is awesome.
Thank you. Thanks a lot.
So let's talk about your current lineup. Tell us who's in the band.
Okay, well, I've got me, lead vocals. I've got Clayton Kennedy, lead guitar. I've got Mr. Grimm, we call him Grimm, but his name's Cornelius, rhythm guitar. Then we've got Paul, he's the drummer and the backing singer. And we've got Brett Collins, who's the bass player and the backing vocalist.
Okay, very cool. So you guys, this is a solid band now, right? This is your core.
Yeah. Well, is any band solid?
I know, right? I mean, I was kind of talking to Blackheart Saints about the same thing, as you all know, because you saw the interview. But what's interesting about your band, and you have never stopped, Ben. You're constantly working, constantly recording. constantly getting your band together for either rehearsals. What
Yeah.
I love about you is you film all your rehearsals. You interact with your fans. You have a great fan page on
Mhm,
Facebook, and
mhm.
that's important, is to keep that connection with your fans. So let's talk about, I know we briefly talked last week about your campaigning to get to the US. So why don't you tell us a little bit about your GoFundMe and how, what we need to do to help you?
Well, the GoFundMe, I set that up a couple of months ago because, I mean, most of our fans, the majority of our fans are in the US. So it really makes sense to do a tour. If we're going to do a tour, we might as well do a tour of the US if we can, hopefully, fingers
Right.
crossed.
And we've talked
You
about
know,
this.
yeah, yeah. And I set up a GoFundMe to get us there, but it's not cheap.
No, no, it's
you know,
not.
it's a 14-hour flight to Los Angeles. So that just tells you how far we are from the rest of the world.
Right. Because my flight's going to be 15 hours.
Exactly. And I hear you're coming here for the Kings of Thrash,
Yes.
you know. And so I was, yeah, so I set up a GoFundMe and we'll see how that goes. And it'd be great if we got a sponsorship, but they're going to be so hard to get from a band that's like
Yeah.
mine, you know. So I set that up for a whole year, and hopefully by next July or August, we'll have enough funds to have a 2-week tour.
Right. Now, are you currently on a record label, Ben, or are you guys producing and recording your own stuff?
Self-produced our first EP, self-produced our second EP, which will be released hopefully later on this year. We recorded that back in January this year, and yeah, no record label as yet.
Right. And you do have a Spotify page, because I mean, that's how
Yeah.
I listen to your stuff,
Mhm.
which is great. Now, is there any other platforms that we can direct your fans to find out more about Fuel the Fire?
Oh yeah. Well, we're actually on TikTok too.
Yeah, well, of course. Yeah.
we're on TikTok. We're on Reverb Nation. We're on SoundCloud. We're on YouTube. Yeah, so we're on Instagram as well.
Okay. Yep. I mean, you're all over the place, which is what I love about your drive, Ben. You're covering all the socials, and you're
Right.
constantly changing your narrative and material and keeping it fresh for your fans, which is really super important, because we need to keep your name out there. Fuel the Fire.
Mhm.
It's
Well,
really
yeah.
important.
Well, yeah, we definitely do. And just to touch upon what you mentioned before, the interaction with the fans. I did that when we were recording our first EP. I was doing that a lot. I was doing live streams while we were recording, talking to the fans,
Right.
And I feel that's so important to connect with your fans, because at the end of the day, without them, and I say this all the time, without them, we wouldn't be here, you
Exactly.
know? So, and that's why I called it the Fuel to Fire family,
Right.
because it's one big family, and we're not just the band and you're the fans. We're a whole big, huge band, essentially.
Yeah,
Uh,
exactly. And that's what I love about your platform with this band. It's like you're a rock band for the people. And that's what really, I think, got me interested in the beginning when we first started chatting, and I became a fan uh,
right.
a couple years ago. And I'm glad we've stayed in touch for the past couple years, because I knew, I mean, we've talked about this for a couple hours at a time about getting you to the US. And I think it's super important, getting the fans on board with this GoFundMe. I think we need to be a little bit more aggressive with it. So I'll do whatever I can to help you
Mhm.
with that. So we'll talk about that later. But let's talk about your musical influences, Ben. What
Mhm.
motivates you to write and to perform?
Well, my first vinyl record was Appetite for Destruction. So,
Right?
when I heard that, I heard Welcome to the Jungle, Sweet Child of Mine were the first two songs I heard on that album. And I said, I want to be a singer. I really sort of didn't know I could sing. And so I started singing along to the vinyl record, and I could pretty much, not as high as Axel, but I could pretty much sort of match Axel's vocal range. Um, and so I just kept singing. I started my first band with my brothers and a friend from school back in 1990. We did our first show in 1990. We started the band, and that didn't work out. Lasted 4 years. That didn't work out. Went solo, and then I just kept going. And I essentially I haven't really done the cover scene. I've just basically done originals my whole life, really. So
That's
yeah,
important.
and my influences are Chris Cornell, Axl Rose, Sebastian Bach, yeah, guys like that,
Well, I mean,
singers like that.
that's like rock royalty. So, I mean, you're definitely in good company with them.
Yeah, yeah.
Definitely. Because, I mean, as far as categorizing your music, I don't like to categorize music anymore. It's straight up rock and roll, and thank God 23 Rock is making a comeback. It hasn't gone away. It was taking a vacation. And I think, during all during all this BS that we went through, I think it gave us a reboot in rock and roll to continue the fight. There's so many bands such as yourself that need to be seen and heard. And that's pretty much my passion, is to get these bands, out there so people know who they are. Because there are so many bands, Ben, such as yourself, that are struggling to get noticed, to get heard. And that's why, I mean, you have a passion for this business and you've never stopped. And that what is attributing to your success with this band. So we've got to get you to the US.
Well, look, thank you so much. I really appreciate what you're doing for the music community, for the metal community, for the rock community, whatever you want to call it, but what you're doing,
Right?
Carol, is so great. I mean, I've watched a couple of your interviews, and I actually think I heard the Blackheart Saints go, "You should be a PR person,"
Well, they did
so
say that. I'm like, I'm available. Let's go.
yeah. And actually, you are a great PR person, because the way you describe my band, I mean, look, let's be honest. I don't mind if, for me personally, in my opinion, I don't mind if people categorize my music or our music.
Right.
But for me, like you just said, it's straight up maximum rock and roll. That's what it is.
Right.
And at the end of the day, that's what the great Lemmy says every time he performs. So if Lemmy says it, it's true.
Right. The great Lemmy. He's still here with us.
Exactly. Hell, he's still here.
Sure.
Hell yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, like I said, I'm glad we're having this conversation, not only about your band, but about rock and roll. Let's talk about the music scene in Australia right now. Particular Sydney right now. I know the Kings of Thrash are going to be hitting Melbourne, Brisbane, and Sydney. I think there's one other town that they'll be hitting. But tell us a little bit about what the rock scene is like in Sydney, Australia.
Well, it's picking up. Let's just say it's picking up. When we recorded our debut EP, and it was 2020, and then we released it in 2021, it wasn't that great. But because of the pandemic, I guess obviously that's why it slowed down. But it's really starting to pick up. I feel like we're getting more gigs. We've got a gig in July and then one in August. I mean, it would be better to have a few more gigs, but hey, steady wins the race, right?
Right.
Slow
why
and
don't
steady.
you? Yeah. Why don't you tell us about the two gigs that you guys have?
Yeah. Well, we've got one July the 1st here in Sydney, in a suburb called Windsor, here in Sydney, and then we've got one on August the 26th. It's actually, oh God, it's a metal fest basically.
Okay.
So yeah, that's on August 26th, and yeah, so I mean, the scene here in Sydney, like I said, it's picking up. I feel like it's there's 5.5 million people here, so I mean, it's a huge city, So I think it's definitely picking up, and I can see the signs of that.
Right. Like, how many rock clubs do you guys have? I know there's the Crowbar.
Hmm.
Is
Hmm.
there Music Factory? Is that correct?
Yeah, yeah, that's right. Yeah,
Okay. And what other
there's
clubs
there.
are there?
Well, the clubs that we played at an hour and a half from here. We played at a place called Dapto. That's a good venue. Chatswood RSL, another good venue. The Factory Theatre, that's a good venue. The Bridge Hotel, we haven't played at, which we're hoping to play. We'd love to play the Crowbar, so we'd love to play that venue. But there are and more rock clubs, opening up, and actually venues saying, "Hey, we only want original bands here," which is great.
Yeah, that was a conversation I had with a few other bands as well. Um, you know, there is a difference between a cover band and a tribute band. And
Yeah.
they can't come together. But see, the problem is with the cover bands is they're a cover band. They're not going to go anywhere. You're going to get a steady flow of your fans. Great. You'll get a paying gig. That's awesome, and I'm not putting that down. But the American rock public, I don't know if Sydney feels the same way. We want to hear original material.
Mhm.
Okay. We want the originals. We don't care if you throw in a cover. That's pretty much what's going on right now with a lot of bands is they're throwing in a couple cover tunes, which is fine. It's not a problem. But, we get sick of hearing You Give Love a Bad Name, or you know what I'm saying, or Paradise City. How many, you know what I mean? How many times can we listen to that? But if these cover bands can throw in some original material, just to give them a little bit more stretch on their fanship, it would be great, because that, oh yeah, I like that song. You guys ain't got any more songs? You know what I mean? It keeps it fresh.
Right.
That's all. Especially in Vegas, we have a lot of cover bands here, and but now some of these cover bands are starting to wake up. They're starting to kind of do original material because
Mm.
they know that's what the fans want to see.
Right. Well, yeah, I mean, I agree with you. Covers is good to get you out there earning some money because, as
Right.
you know, original is a tough market,
Yeah.
right? Um, so I understand and I totally get what you're saying. With originals, it is good. How many times can you hear Sweet Child of Mine? How many times can you hear a Bon Jovi song? You know what I mean?
Right.
We've got a couple of covers. We're for our next two gigs. We've got a new cover we're working on. Judas Priest. You got another thing coming,
Okay, that's great. I love that song.
right? And we got a Velvet Revolver song called Slither as well. We've
Oh,
thrown
I
in there
love
as
that
well.
song. That
Yeah,
was a great band.
yeah, great band. So yeah, I mean, it is tough as originals, but for me personally, I'd rather hear a totally new song than okay, Sweet Child of Mine. All right, well everyone's heard it. Do you know what I mean? How many times can you do that song? How many
Exactly.
times you
But
can't really do it?
I'm still gonna support the bands regardless, because some of my friends are in multiple tribute bands, and hey, it's great. But like I'm saying, I'm talking from a fan's perspective. We want to hear new original material as well.
Right.
Because you want to keep the interest, you want to keep them coming back. Hey, let's go see so and so tonight. They got a couple new songs they're going to try out. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Instead of, oh, okay, I already saw them 5 times. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
This is known for cover bands, my friend, you know,
Right.
and all over the country, really. But, getting to original material, like you said, it's a hard sell.
But yeah, it is. And the thing is with original bands, you're basically selling. You're a brand, and you're trying to sell your brand to the public. You know, and that's the thing. You've got to put on a great show. I feel like as Dave Grohl said in an interview, I think he said something like, if you want to be an original band, if you want to write original music, you got to go out there, but you've got to be badass.
Yeah,
You've got to be bad. If you want to
yeah,
create a wave, you just got to play like it's your last show.
you do. And that's the way it is. If you're
Yeah.
gonna play a show and be badass, you gotta play like there's 50,000 fucking people in that bar.
That's it, exactly.
You
You
know?
have to, or
Yeah,
else, or else don't really do it. If you're not going to do it that way, then I
yeah.
feel
If
like,
you're not
well,
gonna have the passion to do it
no,
like that, then you don't belong doing it.
I agree. I
You know?
agree.
And that's coming from a rock journalist, but I'm just saying, there are some bands out there, that I'm not gonna mention names, but wow, okay. So anyway, but yeah, I mean, music is right. I mean, is music regardless of what kind of band it is. And I think 23 is seeing such an insurgence of bands hitting the road that I've ever seen in the past 20 years.
Well,
So
and see, that's yeah. Well, and that's actually proof that things are really starting to open up in the
yeah,
music industry. Really,
yeah, I
every
mean,
band wants to go out and
right. Well, I mean, every band wants to get signed too. But let me tell you something. I'm seeing
right.
more bands go independent on their own label so they can control
Mhm.
what they're putting out as well as what they're doing. Because if a band wants to make money, it's got to be on the merch. It's got to be on the merch and it's got to be on the CD that they just did. Okay. Because a lot of these shows, it's going to be hard to make money. So that's why merch is a solid deal when it comes to starting your band out on the road.
And it's true. I mean, you're not going to make that much money selling CDs anymore. Those
Right.
days are pretty much gone. But the majority of your money is going to come from touring and selling your merch on the road. You're right.
Yeah.
Yes, I
I
say it
mean,
all the time.
hands down,
Yeah.
for sure. Okay, so now we're still going to meet Ben when I come out to Sydney next month
Right on.
because I want to go to a few record stores out there.
Wow, you'd be hard pressed to find any.
Well, I mean, there's
A lot
a
of-
few, there's a couple, We'll talk about that or whatever. But um, anyway, let's talk about now. Are you recording? Because I know you are.
no, well, we finished recording our second EP in January.
Okay, so now that's out. Is that out now, Ben?
No, no,
Okay,
no,
it's
no,
not out yet.
no, no.
Okay.
Uh, I don't know what date it'll be out. I was going to say July, but I don't know if it's going to be July. It might be pushed back a little bit more. But I'll definitely let you know and everyone else know when the
Right.
actual date is. Yeah.
Yeah. Now, the two dates that you guys are playing, do you plan on throwing out some of those new songs during those two shows?
Oh, you mean the songs on the new EP?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, we've been playing some of those songs since last August.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I'm just saying,
Yeah.
if your fans are watching, which I hope they will be when I drop this later, that way they know they're going to be hearing some new material as well.
Oh yeah, yeah. Like I said, we've been playing some of the new songs since we've been playing gigs last year. So the
Right.
fans know some songs, though some of the songs they haven't. I don't know. I mean, yeah. So yeah. Sorry to say, yeah. They
Yeah,
have heard some of the songs.
that's cool. Yeah, no worries there. Okay. So, before we kind of end it, because I mean, we pretty much talked about everything. Now, do you have that GoFundMe address that you can let everybody know about, Ben?
I have to get it. I don't have it on
Okay,
me
you
right.
can just shoot it to me later, and then
I
we'll
will.
go ahead and do something with it
Mhm.
online. We can talk
Yeah.
more about it too when I come to Sydney next month.
Yeah. Cool.
Too as well. But
Yeah.
now I always ask a question at the end of my interviews.
Mhm.
This one is going to be if you could take one record, one album, and you're on a desert island, what album would it be?
Oh, Appetite for Destruction.
I think you're the second person who said that. Yeah, Appetite, huh?
Yeah, oh yeah. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely. I mean, that was the album that got me to become a singer. So hey.
Right? So yeah, I mean, it would be, now if somebody asked me what album I would take on a desert island if I could only pick one record, I'm gonna have to say people are gonna freak when they hear this. It's gonna be a Styx album,
Styx, wow.
Cornerstone.
I haven't heard, I don't listen to Styx, so I don't know their songs.
Yeah, you should check out Styx, man. They're a Chicago band. They're from my
Okay.
hometown.
I've heard it.
I would have to take that album on a desert island. I mean,
Ah,
I grew up listening to Styx. That was definitely a momentous album in my
right.
younger years. So
Yeah, yeah.
that's the album I would take.
Can
So,
can I ask you something?
yeah.
The Las Vegas music scene, how is that?
Las Vegas music scene is really hot right now. There's a lot of new original music bands that are coming together. I have of some friends of mine in an amazing band called Noise Complaint.
Okay.
They actually are going to be playing the Whiskey A Go Go out in Los Angeles for a couple shows. I just recently saw them. Bree Forsberg and Jake Gruen are best friends, boyfriend, girlfriend, but they're each in different bands. And she has a band called, a worst band in town. And yeah, so yeah, I mean, and he is a Noise Complaint. So they are amazing singers. I'll have to repost the video I have of them singing together. They were singing at a recent show that I went to. They did all Dio and Black Sabbath songs, and it was different artists coming up and singing their favorite songs. Incredible. These two are the ones to watch in 23 in Las Vegas.
Oh, right on. Okay. Thank you.
Talent is coming out of Vegas right now.
Oh, right on. Can I just say, speaking of merch, look at this. He's one of our merch.
Nice. I'm gonna have to get some merch from you, Ben, when I come.
Hey. Yeah, cool. Right on.
So we'll talk about that. I want a shirt and whatever else you got. We'll figure it out.
All right, cool. Sounds good. Sounds good.
Okay, so I'm gonna sign off, Ben. It's been great talking to you. Thank you for coming on. Let's tell the viewers they can find all your music on Spotify. Where else?
YouTube, SoundCloud, Instagram, TikTok,
Facebook.
And I'm the one that manages all these social media sites.
Right. You are the only one that does it.
Exactly. I am the only one that does it.
Right.
Yes. Exactly.
And let's invite the fans to join your fan group on Facebook. Right?
Yeah, come join us, people. Come and join the family. Come on in.
And you'll hear all the latest Fuel the Fire info, dates, what the band's up to. So I'm going to sign off, Ben. Have a great day, because I know it's day there.
Afternoon.
It's nighttime here, so it's time for me to go nighty-night. And we'll see you in Sydney next month.
Right on. Look forward to it. Thank you so much.
Okay, thanks, Ben. Talk to you soon.
All right, bye.
Bye-bye. Wow, Ben Albert, Fuel to Fire. This has been a conversation that we've been wanting to have for almost a couple years now, since pandemic. So it was great to talk to him. It was 3:00 in Australia. So yeah, that's what I'll be dealing with next month when I'm there in Sydney. So it's going to be the time switcheroony. But anyway, thank you for watching On the Rocks Total Entertainment. I am Carol Nevin, the Vegas Rock Goddess, and I will see you next time.